All right. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the Real Producers Beyond the Pages podcast. So I'm Samantha Luccherini. I've got a realtor, Brenda Noffert, here with Better Homes and Garden, and we also have Will King with U.S. Mortgage. Thank you guys for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you bet.
Good morning.
Good
time.
Tuesday
Oh my
morning.
gosh, everybody
Wednesday.
has radio voices.
I know. Isn't this cool?
I have a
This
face
fun
for
technology.
radio. Not me. No, I have a face for radio, not a voice.
But you've got the hair for video, girl.
That's right.
I'm all about
No
it.
doubt.
All right. So today we're going to talk about money and business with family members and really just everything in between. So on that note, Will, start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and why you chose Miss Brenda to come on the podcast with you.
Oh, well, where do we start with that?
I know.
Well, I've been in the business for 20 years, fell into it, honestly. No rhyme or reason for getting into it, needed a place to work, and it just kind of worked for me to be on the phone and work with numbers. So it's a good fit for me. And U.S. Mortgage has been a great experience in the sense of giving us a lot of support, allowing us to run our own little business, so to speak. And Brenda is an amazing wealth of knowledge. I wanted her on because I knew she would be a lot of fun, but brings a lot to the table with her colorful personality, matching the hair. And I know that we would have a lot of fun discussions, as well as just get a lot of detail and a lot of good insight into the perspective of real estate and what's going on with the market. I thought it'd be a lot of fun, a lot of good discussion.
You're right. I mean, you can't help but just like your vibes increase, like your frequency is better. You're happy. There's lots of laughs.
You're
and
so sweet.
It's
Thank
true.
you.
It's true. I love your vibes. So people probably can't see this, but your name tag says Brenda Noffert, Magical Unicorn.
Yes.
And it's blingy, and it's
It is.
and it's perfect because I remember when we first met, you explained why that was the title on your name tag. So do you want to tell our listeners why?
Sure. So I believe in education. I teach downtown for the Realtor organization. I help agents screw up deals less. And
Perfect.
because I believe in education, I try to get one designation a year, take one major class a year from the time that I've been in real estate, which is now 26 years. Amazing. So I used to have alphabet soup behind my name and all of these,
Acronyms and letters. Yes.
and letters, and nobody knows what they mean.
No, they don't.
And it looked like I had a bowl of soup. And nobody ever asked. People would look at it and be like, oh, so you're old. Got it. So
Educated.
yes,
Wise.
educated. We'll go that,
Yes.
right? Wise. But so I decided that I really didn't want to take myself that seriously anymore. And I got rid of all of my acronyms and just became Magical Unicorn.
Yes.
And
Because you do. You create magic.
Kind of
That-
covers
You
it
have
all.
for 26 years.
yes. So and I'll tell you that I was at first afraid. I did it when I turned 50. And I was at first afraid that people would be like, oh, she doesn't take this seriously. But actually, it has been a conversation starter. And most of the time I'll be talking to someone new and we'll be talking, and all of a sudden I'll see this smile cross their face and they'll be like, and I'm like, what?
Yes.
They're like, I just read your name tag. That is so you.
Yes. Yes. Very fitting.
yes,
It does. It kind of wraps up your personality and yeah, very,
you.
very
It also
well.
matches your pen and your cup.
That's, see.
I know. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
love
whole
it.
They go
vibe.
together.
Yes. Very good. Okay. So when did you guys meet? Tell me about this professional relationship that you have created over the years.
Wow.
Or what was the first transaction? Do you
wanna-
remember what the
or
first
you wanna-
This is
transaction was?
like early 2000s.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I came to Wichita in 2005, the end of 2005.
From Detroit.
From Detroit, Michigan, yes. And we were in a brokerage. The only person that we knew in Wichita, the only people were real estate people. That was it. So we came here because we felt like the Detroit market was not going to go well. And we knew that if we stayed, we would lose it all. So we came here and we started doing all of the basics just to survive. I mean, open houses. And when you're putting yourself out there, at the time, there wasn't much going on the internet. So we were advertising in the Homes book, if anybody remembers that.
I'm sure there are some that do.
And we would get phone calls, and a lot of the phone calls were people that didn't really even know where to start with purchasing a home. Will would come into the office where we worked, and he was working with other agents, and we started talking to him, and he was like, give me a shot. Just give me a shot.
That's
so because he was top of mind,
Amazing how that works. Isn't
we
it?
got, and
Yes.
the first, do you remember our first deal
worked.
together?
Oh my goodness. I don't know that I do. You.
I think you do.
I bet I will. You put a name out there. I bet I will.
Was it smooth? Was it chaotic? Was it fun? Easy?
So she was a dancer.
Ah,
Right.
I love these stories. This is why we do this.
Not
Now Will remembers.
So like, is lap dancing a style kind of dancer?
Yes.
And Will made it happen.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Good job, Will. So self-employed, lots of cash.
Self-employed, lots of cash.
Okay.
And no, I did not get tipped in the end.
You close it. That's all that matters.
The question was coming. I knew
She
it,
was
so,
a closer. Mm-hmm.
There
Yeah,
we go.
right.
There we go. So that was
closed
20.
2006.
Okay, 2006. All
been a
right.
while.
That has been
Yes.
10 years. Okay.
Couple days.
2006.
That's
yeah,
fun.
just a day or two. We both started when we were 12. So that's how
Yeah,
that
that's
happened.
exactly.
You know.
11 and a half for
I
me.
can tell.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When real estate rules were different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the craziest loan story that you can recall?
Oh my goodness. Well, actually that one was probably right up there, to be honest.
I'm sure.
There's been so many. Quite honestly, it's hard to recall just one that was crazier than another. Recently, though, I did have an individual that he asked me. He goes, "So do I need to keep my job?" I was thinking about changing careers, and is that going to hurt the loan? Things like
At
that.
least he asked.
At least he
Instead of
asked,
just
right.
assuming that everything would be fine.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Things like that happen.
You
all
pick
the
your
time.
jaw up off the ground and answer as quickly as possible. And then you have to follow up and confirm that he stayed put.
Yes, we actually have a form they sign that says "Do not quit your job." It's
Wow.
part of the do's and don'ts that we haven't signed.
Isn't that crazy? That's why contracts get longer and forms are created, because the craziest things happen because common
Yes.
sense is not common. Okay.
It
All
is
right.
not common at all.
Okay. That's interesting. What about you, Miss Brenda? Any clients that you can remember that were just really stand out in your mind, either for a really good reason or a really crazy reason?
My favorite client forever is I sold her. She was the sweetest lady. She was probably 63 or 64. She was a widow. For her husband had died probably like 7 or 8 years before she met me, and she called me on a house that was $11,000. And
To buy?
To buy.
Okay.
She had never owned a home. Her and her husband had never owned a home. They had always rented. She wanted to own a home before she died. That was her thing. And she was very embarrassed because she didn't have a lot of money, and she couldn't get anybody to work with her. Because she didn't have a lot of money. And when she called me, she called on a home that just out of the blue, it was not my listing or anything, but she called me because she wanted to buy a home. And I started talking to her. She gave me the address, and I said, "So what about this house caught your eye?" And she said, "Well, it's the price." And I looked it up, and it was $11,000. And I said, "Okay, fantastic. Let's talk about it."
Most agents would be like, meh, I'm not going to mess with
And
that.
so we started talking. We talked for about 45 minutes, and she said, "You are the first person to give me the time of day." And I said, "You know what? It is not at all about how much money you have to spend. It's about how I can help you.
Yeah.
And you have a dream. Let's go make this happen." Well, we went to see that house, and oh my gosh, light a match and walk away, Charlie's Angel style.
Yeah.
I mean, just right over the
bet.
shoulder and be done. Because holy cow, it was a mess. And it was like a 3-bedroom, 1,100 square foot, just
Yeah.
chocolate mess. And I told her her name was Ann. And I said, "Ann, I cannot in good conscience even let you think about purchasing this home. This is a nightmare for you. It's got mold. It's got foundation issues." And she's like, "Well, there's nothing more that I can afford than that." And I said, "That's not true. We will find you something."
Because you have relationships with good lenders and you know how to make that happen.
She couldn't finance. She didn't have any credit. She had $12,000 cash. That is all she had. And she got that from a long-term awaited settlement from how her husband passed. And the lawyers, it had started out being like $60,000.
Sure.
And the lawyers ended up taking most of it, and she got 12 grand. And her whole thing was she just wanted to buy a house. So I found her a house for 8 grand. It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, tiny little house. And when we closed, she cried, and she was so happy. And right up until the day she died, I visited her about once a month, and she was probably the happiest person I ever sold a house to, because we made her dream come true.
Yeah, so much meaning behind it.
And when you can do that for someone, I mean, when you think about what we do every day, my very first broker told me that, because when you first get in the business, everything is monumental. Every problem is like the end of the world.
Yes.
And I spent more time in tears in the first 5 years in the industry
Of
than
course.
anybody else on the planet.
Yep.
And he used to tell me all the time, if you don't have problems, you don't have business. Embrace your problems.
I like that. Yeah, they're all an opportunity to learn.
Totally.
We wouldn't have a job if there weren't problems.
That's right.
And when you think of what we do for a living, we don't help people buy houses and sell houses. We help people sell memories, and we help people buy their future. Mm-hmm. And when you think about that they trust us with their past and their future, that's so huge.
Profound.
It's so huge. I mean, just being able to be in someone's life when they're going through that big of a change is like the biggest blessing in the world.
Yeah, they'll remember that.
Yeah. So she was my favorite.
I like that. That's very heartwarming.
I do have one funny story.
Okay,
I
let's
can
hear
tell
it. Yep.
All right, this is back when the Patriot Act came out, and it's probably around 2011 or so, and I'm sitting here with a guy from Iraq, and we're going through the paperwork back when we had to do it all personally, and I was very working deep in the Muslim community, got to meet some people in there and made a lot of friends, and when you do that, you become part of the community. So there's a lot of trust there. So I'm sitting there with Muhammad, and we're going through the paperwork, and whenever the Patriot Act comes out, I would say things like, okay, this is the Patriot Act. It says anti-terrorism. You're not a terrorist, are you? So I'm sitting with Muhammad, and my standard joke comes out. And as I'm saying it, I'm seeing the words, and I'm turning 3 shades of white,
Right.
and I'm grabbing it and trying to eat it back, and it wasn't working. And so I
It's
looked
like
at him,
the
I said,
slow-mo.
yes, I said it. Then I put my head down. I said, Muhammad, I said, I apologize. I say that to everyone. It's just a standard joke. And he's signing. He looks up. He goes, I got it. Finished signing. And needless to say, I didn't do his loan. So it was a great story.
Insert
though.
foot into mouth.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's good. We make those mistakes, and they teach us very valuable lessons.
Oh, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it did that. And, of course, everybody that I knew that I told that they just laughed. They thought it was so funny that's in the community. They're like, you're stupid.
Well, I'm glad he wasn't as connected as maybe you could have
Oh,
been afraid that he
Great
might have been.
guy. Great guy. We had a lot of fun with it, actually, later. But, it took a minute.
It took, just a minute.
Okay, Miss Brenda, I know this about you, but let's let the rest of the people know this really special thing, the thing that you do at least once a year with one of your commissions.
So I try at least once a year when there is a family or a person that I'm helping that really is in a rough spot. Generally, I'm selling them short, I'm helping them short sale, helping them avoid foreclosure, something like that. I will donate my commission back to them or give my commission up so that they can get what they need and make their life just a little bit easier. Oftentimes when you're helping people in distress, it's the darkest time in their life. Yeah. And getting them out from under their home is the first step in helping them get their life back. And when you can give them, a couple $1,000, $4,000, $5,000, anything
Tremendous.
like that, it's life-changing.
It is.
And it means everything to them, and it means everything to me that I'm able to do that. And I'm in a position where I can do that. There was a point in my life where I wasn't able to do that, where every single dollar was, how am I going to feed my kid? How am I going to help my family? How are we going to make our mortgage? And I know that feeling, and that is just devastating. And if I could help somebody out with that, that's the best thing ever. And that I'm able to do it is good.
I love that. Yep, that's one thing that I remember that really stood out for me.
See, now this is why I want to Brenda on here.
I know.
Unicorn,
She has a heart. Yep, the heart the size of Texas.
Rainbow
And
sprinkles all over.
that's right. That's right. What is an unusual, this is for you, Will, what's an unusual habit or something absurd that you really love?
An unusual habit. See, there's so many to choose from. No, one thing it's it gets a little bit absurd is I really like to karaoke.
I knew
really
this
like
was
to
going to
do
be the
that.
answer, and I'm so
Yeah,
glad you said it.
Yeah, I really like to do that. And what's really funny is those who don't know me very well, I don't drink at all. Just don't. I don't like it. I don't like the taste. It doesn't bother me if people do. And so we'll go to the karaoke bar. These dive
Wait,
bars.
where's the best karaoke bars in town?
Oh, there's a couple really good ones. A&J's is good. The Stop. Borchet's has a good karaoke night.
Okay.
So
I
there's a
have
few places to
absolutely
go.
no idea what any of those places are. I'm like in bed by 7.
Yeah, right. Good dive bars.
I love it.
So that's one of my things. I guess it could be considered a habit, but something fun
Yeah.
that I like to do. It's
A
little bit
hobby.
absurd.
A
It is
talent.
hobby. And what's funny is we go in, and all the guys and the gals are with me, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. They go, whoa, let's get a couple drinks in us first. I'm like,
Right, some liquid
come on,
courage.
let's do this thing.
Yeah,
Anyway, so yeah.
I love that. That's good. Okay.
Will is the
Fun
only
time.
man I know that can tie a bow tie with his eyes closed.
Yes, this
That
is Will's
is
signature.
actually a talent.
That
yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You don't cheat, right? You don't do the clip on. This is for
Clip
real.
on.
I
bow tie.
do not. This is for real.
Yes.
It is for real.
I think I've only seen you without a bow tie one time, and I thought, what is wrong with you today? Because usually, every time, and I love it. It is your thing.
Last year, we had a client appreciation event at Rock River Rapids.
Yes,
He had a waterproof bow tie. It was wooden, actually. It was the best.
I would have been
ever.
disappointed had you not.
Me too.
I
That's what
I would like
told
to
him.
see a picture of that.
It was
Actually,
a wooden Mandalorian bow tie. It was.
very good. Where's like the best place to get bow ties?
I do it online.
Okay, all right. Do you like to receive bow ties as gifts?
I do, but most people get me the tied one
Oh,
because they don't know the difference
Right.
between having it untied and a tied. And I really don't like the tied ones. I'd rather have the one that I tie myself.
yes. With your so, how many bow ties would you estimate you own?
Not as many as you would think, but I think I'm up to about 15. Right
Oh
now.
yeah, I would think it'd be more.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
we
up
need to
about
grow that.
15.
Anybody listening, you see a really cool bow tie, like the legit one. Let's get
yeah.
this. Let's
Send
get
it to
Will
Will.
completely
Yeah.
outfitted. Yes, I'll do my part.
I would
See,
love that.
yeah, I think you need like 200 bow ties
Yeah,
so you can
or
wear
at least
different one.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh
you
my
only have to
gosh.
repeat it 3 times a
Right.
I
year.
need a bigger closet just for
That's
No, that you can fold them up.
There's
We-
gotta be a
We can
way.
get some Marie
That's
Kondo
right.
tidying.
Gotta have something.
right.
Yeah,
something hanging from the ceiling. You know, and
I like that. All right, Miss Brenda, what? Because I know you're in business with your husband,
Yes.
Chris. And so, what is it? What are some things that you guys like to spend your time doing outside of real estate?
We're funny. I absolutely love spending time with my husband. We'll be married 32 years in October.
That is crazy.
I love that. That makes my heart so happy. October what?
October 27th.
Okay,
It's
anniversary.
the day after my birthday.
Okay,
And so right now, the last couple of years, we have started lifting weights and working out. So we spend a lot of time at the gym.
Good.
Because our daughter is 15, and for the first portion of her life, we were very sedentary, very pretty much just hung around, you know.
worked and then hung out.
Yeah. Just, worked and then crashed kind of thing.
Sure.
And as we started to get older, we were like, yeah, this is not sustainable. This is going to be really, really bad.
Yeah,
And
sedentary is bad.
we're passing it on. We're passing on a sedentary lifestyle to our young child who really, we don't want that for her. We want better. So we started in the gym. Actually, we started when COVID started.
Yep.
We decided, okay, we're working out in the garage. We're doing this. And my husband lost like 50 pounds. I lost 65 pounds. And
Amazing.
we just were doing so good. And then when we decided it was safe, we joined a gym. And now we're working out. I am trying really hard. I would like to lose about another 25 or 30 pounds My husband is like buff, yum, awesome. I mean, he's just like, boom.
I love that.
He's like, yeah, I want to lose some more weight. I'm like, where?
I know. Men lose it so
Where?
fast. No offense, but it is unfair.
But
the ladies understand.
Yeah.
They do.
So,
they lose it fast.
he'll stand there and just look like, I mean, he's a mountain anyway.
Right.
But
Now he's a yummy mountain.
yeah, now he's a yummy mountain. I mean,
Chris,
he
we
was
love you.
always a yummy mountain. but,
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he'll do something like, grab something and he'll go like this and his arms like, pfft. I'm like, Jesus, look at that.
That's all yours.
Dude.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what, and this question is for both of you, and this will kind of be our last question, and then we'll wrap up. But, and whoever wants to answer first, but what failure or apparent failure have you encountered that actually turned out to be tremendous for you?
Oh boy, I've got a story that was about a client that would probably fit that pretty well. It was an epic failure. Back in the day when a dog had a credit score and they could buy a home, right?
Fogomir.
Got it. And I had this guy that he had around a 580, 570 score, fresh out of a bankruptcy, and we got him into a home. He actually was buying it on contract, and so we were able to consummate the contract and get him a loan and get him into the home. Well, his name was Brian, and we actually became friends. And that doesn't happen a ton for me on the loan side because I don't spend a ton of time with the people. It's just a lot of paperwork and a lot of frenzy, especially anymore with it being online. It becomes even more challenging. Back then, I actually met with everyone at least once,
Yeah,
at least
for some
twice.
wedding signatures. Yeah.
Signatures and going over things, and it was just a lot different. But Brian and I actually became friends. And about a year later, Brian was going to take a promotion on his route job for Frito-Lay and move to another town. So he told me, he goes, yeah, I want to buy another house. I said, dude, it's really not been enough time. We need to get your score up a little bit more before you do this. I want to make sure that you're going to get something that's worth getting. And back then, everything was tiered. We had tiered MI, which is PMI. It would be a higher cost with a lower score. And so we ran the figures for Brian, and he wanted to buy a $160,000 house in a small town, which was top end of the market. His PMI on that thing was $532 a month.
Oh
His
my
payment
God.
was $2,000 and some dollars.
Yikes.
Yeah, I remember it to the penny because Brian walked in my office, and I was with a brokerage back then, a small brokerage, and we were talking about it, and I said, brother, I got to tell you, I'm the snake. I'm the broker. I'm the one that's supposed to be this guy that's a slick Willie, and you're more comfortable with this than I am. I'm not liking this at all.
Yeah.
So he throws a bag of chips on my desk, and he says, you know what, Will? I won't hold it against you. I'm like, okay. Rather than you go somewhere else and get really hosed worse, I'll do this for you, not your dad. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We made it happen. Within 6 months, he was getting foreclosed on.
Ouch.
They moved. They bought a new car. The wife didn't get the job she thought. They had way overextended themselves.
Yeah.
And, we were getting friends when I would drive through to see my folks, which this was kind of on the way, about 100 miles over. And we stopped by the house, got to see the house, got to see the pool, got to see all these nice little things that he had. Yeah, and then he lost that. And it changed the way I do business from here's what you can qualify for to, okay, what kind of payment?
Realistic.
What's the most you want to pay monthly for the house of your dreams? And we'll go from there. Well,
reverse
I want
engineer
this
from
amount of
there.
a house. I said, no. What's the payment you want?
Yeah.
So it transformed the way I do business. Turned a very negative situation into a positive thing so that the people that I work with now, I make sure they understand. I don't care what price of home you buy. Do we make more money with a higher price? Yeah. But is it about the money? No, it's about you. A lot of times as salespeople, we have to remember it's not about me. It's about you. It's about you as my client. What can we do for you? What is the best thing for you? How can I make this happen for you? What's the most you want to spend monthly? And how do we fit that into a home with the price range that's going to benefit you? And then if that needs to change to become more realistic, we can talk about it. But at least you know where you're at, where you need to go, and you can make that decision based on the facts and figures. I'm not just saying, hey, on paper, I can get you into about a $300,000 house.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
they can
that's
only
not
afford
life.
a $1,000 payment.
Right.
So yeah, it was an interesting
Tough.
life experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brian actually never held it against me.
That's good.
We stayed friends. We've lost contact since then. It's been almost 20 years, but we stayed friends for a long time after that, and they
That's
ended up
good.
landing on their feet.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone was upfront and honest. Good. I like that. Miss Brenda, any apparent failures at
Oh
the time?
gosh, I daily, but probably the biggest mind-bending one for me, when Chris and I were doing business in Michigan, we pretty much did everything wrong that you could possibly imagine as far as how we ran our business. We were everywhere. We were, those cheesy sitcoms that have the real estate person in it, and they're on the park bench, and they're on the buses, and they're on TV, and they're on the radio, and they're doing all the. That was us. And back then, the internet wasn't a thing. So you were not, you weren't marketing a product, you were image marketing. And the biggest place to advertise was the phone book. And so we had full page ads in several phone books, which you can't even imagine how expensive that is. And someone once told me it is really easy to make $1 million in real estate if you spend about $900,000 on advertising. So we decided, the great thing that happened with that is we felt the dip in the market before it actually was a reality. Yeah. And I saw for the first almost 10 years that I was here, that we were here in Wichita, I saw our move as my failure, that we couldn't make it in Detroit, that we had to move our family. I mean, my husband is an only child and his mom is with us, and she had to give up everything to come. I mean, she chose to give up everything to come with us because we had to move. And I always was running, as I was building my business here, I was running from that failure. And, the funny thing happens when you're running from something is as you get further away from it, you slow down. And then the something that's chasing you kind of catches up, and then you run faster to try and get rid of it, And it was always hanging over me that I was a failure, that I really messed my family up. And I hired a business coach, and I talked to him. His name was Luigi. And I talked to him. He was supposed to talk to me for an hour. We were doing an hour free coaching call. And we talked for almost 2 hours. And in that time, I told him my story and how we lost everything and we had to move. And, my failure brought our family here, and how everyone gave up everything because I made bad choices. And he was real quiet for almost like 30 seconds. And when you're talking to somebody on the phone and they're quiet for 30 seconds, that is a long time.
Very long. That's trouble.
And all of a sudden he did this deep sigh and he said, "I'm going to change your life right now." And I'm like, okay, good luck with that.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Better therapists have tried. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
And
what you got?
He said, "You chose to not lose everything. You chose to not stay and put yourself at risk. You picked up your entire life and made a choice to come be successful in a different place.
That takes a lot of guts.
You did not stand by and wait to see what happened. That is not a failure. That is success."
That's bravery.
And as soon as when he said it, it was like, I got off the phone with him and I ran to Chris and I'm like, "Oh my God, we're not failures."
I know, it gives me goosebumps. Yeah, that perspective is key.
That perspective, that I made a choice, that we made a choice that changed the trajectory of our life in such a positive way. And I love Wichita. Wichita has saved our life in more ways than I can even count on 2 hands and 2 feet. It's been amazing. But that change in perspective, and instead of running from being a failure, being able to run towards success and change other people's lives the way my life has been changed, has just been the biggest blessing in the whole wide world.
He did. He changed your life.
He did.
And as soon as you guys arrived,
And
Found out you
it's-
were-
yes.
Yep, found
we
out you
tried
were
to have
pregnant.
a kid forever. I mean, we tried to have a kid for a really long time, and it wouldn't happen and wouldn't happen and wouldn't happen. And we were living in a hotel and found out we were going to have a baby. And my girl is 15, and she's amazing and brilliant. And 15.
You were made to come to Wichita.
Yes,
You
It
were
was
drinking
meant to
tap
be.
water, weren't you?
Yeah, I know,
Just
right?
Wichita
We've
water.
got good water.
Right.
Our water
Gotta be
tastes
it.
good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, best story ever. I was working with a girl helping her buy a home, and her father was giving her the down payment. So she actually, I think this is one that we worked on together. Her father was he had a farm, and she was moving to the city to go to school at Wichita State. So he was going to buy her a house. Well, he was late. We showed up and he was late. So he came in and he said to me, "Sorry, I'm late. I was calving heifers." I said, "You were doing what?" "I'm sorry." He said,
city
"Calving
girl.
heifers." I said, "Okay, say it slow." He said, "Calving heifers." I said, "Still no." He said, "Birthing baby cows." So, "Oh, you have cows. How cool. How many do you have?" He said, "Oh, about 200 head." I said, "How do you keep them straight?" He said, 1, 2, 3.
It's like this city girl.
I
I can't
said-
even.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Right. I said, "I was thinking you gave them names." He says to me, "You drink your water from a bottle, don't you, sweetheart?"
In Detroit, you need to. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome.
That would be me.
Welcome to Kansas.
Right. It was the best thing ever. I love that guy.
I love it.
No, yeah.
Well, that's nice that he was kind about it. Well, good. Well, thank you guys. I knew this would be fun. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to just come and hang out and be my guests. And thank you.
What you do
Thanks
is
for having
amazing.
us.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
Yes,
I
so
love
much
what I
fun.
get to do every day. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap. And we'll see you next time.
And scene.